Today is Friday, November 19th, and today was Big Friday. Full snatches, full clean and jerks, well, clean plus push jerks, some front squats, pull-ups, and then some core work. Today was pretty solid, overall very solid. I went up 10 pounds from the last snatch session and the last clean and jerk session. Went from 105 on Monday to 115. So I slapped on the yellows, and then for the clean plus push jerks, I went up to 155. So I slapped on some reds. And then for front squats, 3x3 at 225. And then pull-ups and core. Things felt really solid today. I think my snatches were particularly good. I think my positioning off of the ground, and then as I break the ground from the first pull and then the second pull, I think overall just positioning wise, I looked really solid today, and no issues with my lower back, which is a really, really good sign. The plan that I've mentioned before is if things go well this week, which things have, we'll go up to 60 to 65% next week. And then if that goes well, 70 to 75%. And I suspect, knock on wood, that as long as I continue to do what I'm doing right now, making sure that I'm prioritizing getting in a good position off the ground, I think, it should be pretty smooth sailing. And then after the 70 to 75% week, I'll be back on like regular programming, which will be really nice. These snatches I was very happy with. Positioning off the ground is great. I think I'm maintaining my weight over my midfoot really well. Again, this is something I've said a few times before, but I'm starting to really feel like a weightlifter again, which is a really good feeling. And the several weeks of bodybuilding that I did really just made me realize how much bodybuilding is not for me, and two, how much I missed weightlifting. Snatches were great. The clean plus push jerks. One thing, I guess kind of similar problem as Wednesday. There are some reps here and there where my positioning slightly changes as I break the ground. I don't think I'm like pulling the slack out enough, if that makes any sense, like off of the ground, because there's like a slight jolt as I break the ground in my positioning. But regardless, my lower back doesn't really like go into flexion or anything like that. And there's really no issues with my lower back. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but certainly something that I should actively try to avoid. Just making sure that I'm in the best position possible off the ground, and then making sure that changes as little as possible as I break the ground. Overall, other than that, I think pretty solid. I think a little bit more consistent in terms of positioning compared to Wednesday. I guess another thing is like my push jerks, my dip and drive, or like my dip, I guess on some of the reps, my hips sort of scoop forward a little bit, but I think it's better than it was on Wednesday overall in terms of just relative consistency. Here are my sets at 155. Really easy clean, obviously. It's I guess it's pretty crazy that like I remember when the pain was the worst, I couldn't even break 135 off the ground, even in a clean pull position. And so to be able to do this with ease and no problem, with no pain in my lower back, feels really good. There I am, very happy to be back. I mean, other than the few things I mentioned about the clean and the push jerks, nothing really much else to say, other than I think I'm definitely good to go for 60 to 65% next week. I'll just have to sort of talk it back over with Brad, and then talk more like specific logistics about programming and how we'll accommodate for the intensity change with Aaron, because although we did reduce volume from last week to this week with 3 to 4 doubles instead of like 5 triples, I still think that maintaining this level of volume with 60 to 65% is a lot of work, and I might not be ready for that. So I think we'll just have to sort of talk details about how to approach this in the best way given the increase in intensity. But overall, just really excited about the prospect of being able to make progress and get back to where I was. So yeah, those are the clean plus push jerks, and then I moved on to front squats. I think here I do sort of have to be careful, and I do have to make I have to make sure, especially on these, about proper positioning, because with 225, my top weight for the top triples, I did feel like my lower back was being worked, but I sort of fought the feeling of having them sort of curl under me. And so I feel like if that becomes exaggerated, it could be really bad for my lower back and sort of set me back. And so here I have to be, I think, really careful about, one, like making sure I'm not like loading anything too crazy or trying to progress too fast, but also just making sure that positionally I'm like consistent, and I'm not trying to sort of like scoop my hips under me to get the weight up, because that's just something that I think if I'm not conscious about, my body will sort of naturally do. But I think with 225, it's not a huge issue or anything like that. I just sort of like, I was like, okay, I feel it, so I have to be careful. But I'm here several hours after the session, when in the past, that's when the pain would, I think, be the worst. I'm not feeling any, so I think I should be fine. But again, just have to be careful. Here's my last set. Pretty easy, not too bad. I really think that pointing my toes out in like everything, the front squat, the back squat, the clean off the ground, the snatch, I think is really helpful for me and is like optimal for me, because it just creates way more space for me in my hips. But yeah, finished off with some pull-ups, and then these like anti-twist push things that Aaron showed me. Then yeah, overall, very solid day. Looking forward to the next.